happy Sunday. Okay, that's all you're gonna get from me in terms of singing. Welcome to another Successful Sundays. I'm of course your host, Coach AJ, Dope Life Coach, the dopest life coach out there. Again, welcome to another Successful Sundays. We're just gonna try to clear out the air first things first, and we're gonna take 3 deep breaths. We're gonna breathe in through our nose and exhale it through our mouth. But I want you to think of any energy that's holding you back, any energy that you find that is just weighing you very heavy on your shoulders or however you've been feeling. We're going to let it out today. We're just going to allow it so that we can bring in brand new and healthy energy for the week ahead. All right. So we're going to breathe in through our nose, sigh it out through our mouth. 2 more times. But this time, I want you to hold it for maybe like 3 to 4 seconds at the top. All right. So breathe in, hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, sigh it out. There you go. One more time. If you're able to do so, hold it at the top for 3, 4 seconds. So breathe it in. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Sigh it out. Yeah, we got to clear out the energy. 'Cause sometimes we have some energy that's just holding us back, very heavy, and we don't want to carry that into the new week ahead. So, welcome to Successful Sundays. If you are new here, we meet up every Sunday as long as I'm able to, and we just set ourselves up for success for the week ahead. And this week, we're going to be talking a little bit about burnout. If you're an entrepreneur, even if you're just career driven, but primarily this is for the entrepreneurs of what I've learned when it comes towards burnout and what to pay attention to and the signs, but more importantly, how we could be more proactive than reactive. I've talked about burnout time and time again, but I really want to delve a little bit more into it because I believe that we need to pay attention to it more. I myself, I run a business. I also work a 9 to 5 job. Well, it's not 9 to 5, but I work a job. And the one thing I've noticed when it comes towards burnout is how quickly it could creep in based upon like how life is just lifing with us, right? Like how things are going on. We sometimes ignore the signs. We ignore just like the most simplistic and basic science as well. So today we're really going to be discussing how we can work through that. I want to start by saying that productivity also doesn't mean that you are doing like like that is a productivity means like that's exactly how you grow your business. Not necessarily, right? Like there's moments where you can build your business through ease and rest. And I don't know if you've ever felt like this where you felt so maybe like drained or so tired that even the things that you love and the things that you enjoy doing now feel heavy. You don't have much interest in it. And I want to tell you that, yo, you're not lazy in any way, shape, or form in those moments. That is more than likely you're dealing with burnout. And as entrepreneurs, we tend to mix that up with laziness, and it's not. It's you are not lazy in any way, shape, or form. And it could happen when you're in the midst of growing your business. You feel like you have to do that hustle. In a sense, I get it. Like, I do understand where you may have that thought process of hustle, 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 but it could lead you to be exhausted, disconnected, and constantly chasing the next thing. With that also being said, we tend to forget the moments of celebrating. We tend to forget the moments of enjoying the journey, and we tend to forget the moment of rest and restoration. Today I want to share what burnout as an entrepreneur taught me and how we can reshape it and how you could build it to lead and to rest at the same time, because leadership requires you to show up with your best self. But at the same time, in order for you to show up at your best self, you do have to take care of yourself. And it is your sole responsibility to do so. But the truth is, burnout doesn't mean it's over. It just means that some things just need to change. It just means that some things need to adjust. It just means that you just need to shift your alignment, and perhaps you need to shift a bit of your mindset in those moments. So let's talk about it. Let's get into like some of the symptoms because you may be feeling some of them right now, and you've possibly maybe not ignoring it, maybe, but in an odd way, you may not be paying attention to it. So let's dive into it a bit. I want you to think about how you emotionally feel. What emotions come up for you have shifted throughout like the recent times. Like there could be some things that have changed the way you react. Your emotions are so much more abrupt and you're sharp. That is a sign of burnout as well. How you physically feel. How's your body feeling? How are you feeling at the end of your day? And yeah, you could be tired, but are you waking up feeling tired? Like that is a sign of that you could be feeling a bit burnt out. How are you spiritually feeling? Let's talk about the spirit. We may ignore that completely just because, spirit fluctuates, everything. No, like, how are you feeling spiritually? Are you feeling grounded? Or are you feeling not at ease? These are factors that could play into you feeling burnt out. Fatigue. Fatigue is a massive one, right? Like I said, you're waking up still feeling tired and exhausted. At the end of the day, how you mentally feel could very much affect your body. I'm no doctor, but I'm sure you have felt when you are not mentally feeling 100%, your body reacts to that, right? And loss of creativity. I know many times when I have felt burnt out, you can't get me to make an episode or any local 60 seconds of content. I'm not doing it. I've lost all sense of creativity and I'm a creative person. So that is always a bit of a sign for myself that, okay, AJ, like what's going on here? Like, what do we need to do? For me personally, 9 times out of 10, I need to sleep. I just need to do nothing for like one whole day and just be. If you, I'm just going to put this out there. If you have a job and you're an entrepreneur and you're building your business and you're working at a job and they give you vacation, for the love of all that mighty, take the vacation. Please take the vacation. Two things that could happen: you lose it, or it could get pushed into the next year. Don't let it get pushed in the next year. You get 2 weeks, a week, whatever. I know people call it PTO. I think it is in the US. Canada, we just call it vacation week. So I believe. Take your time. What do we do it? But I know you're gonna say, well, coach, that's a great time for me to work my business. I hear you. On my vacation, sometimes I may, but lately what I've been doing is absolutely nothing. I've even put out of offices emails when I'm like, ah, yeah, I'm not answering anything. I take the same breaks. And why that is because I need that moment to rest. I need that moment to just be. I need that moment to recharge and tap into me. I need to check how I'm feeling in terms of my emotions, how am I feeling in terms of my creativity. Things do come up, I write them out, I go on my notepad and I come up with the ideas and I create like a folder of the things I may want to do after it. But that particular week, 2 weeks, whatever the case is for me. I may meet up with friends and have meetings and stuff like that, but it's cordial, it's chill. I tend to do that as much as I can. With that also being said, you could also take vacations and not tell anyone. Hear me out. There was a week I was off this year. Only 4 people knew. Legit. Only 4 people knew. My partner, my mom, and my two best friends. And that was it. I didn't tell anybody else because I really wanted to just not have any responsibility for, hey, you're free, let's go do. No. At that week, I really needed to just be. I needed that week. One of the best weeks I've had all year because I got to restore myself and disconnect a little bit. But also going back, some of the symptoms could be disconnection, where you're no longer connecting with other people. It's okay to disconnect to take care of yourself. Don't get me wrong. But there could be a moment where you're just like, I don't even want to bother with anybody, primarily because of you're just no longer wanting to disconnect. And not because you need a break, but because you're just like, irritability, being very irritable. Yeah. That also goes to the ties into our emotions of how we react. All of a sudden, everything is making us feel so irritable. That is a sign as well. And here's the thing that you need to also keep in mind: burnout doesn't just say, hey, hello, I'm going to make you feel burnt out. That's not going to happen. It creeps in even when you're in like the build mode. It creeps in without you even recognizing that it is creeping in. Oftentimes, we will not, again, notice the signs of burnout happening. So it will come in the most odd, unexpected time and won't give you a warning. That's just life being life. Now, I want to kind of debunk this myth about working harder fixes it. It does not. The best way to work, and we're going to work through steps of how you can work through burnout, but the best way to work through burnout is to pause for a moment and assess the situation and assess where you are. This is where we acknowledge and we have to say, what am I feeling? What's going on? What's the shift? I personally love feedback. So I will ask those close to me, have you noticed anything with me that I'm not paying attention to? 9 times out of 10, they have noticed, but they didn't want to tell you because they were afraid of how you were going to react, possibly. And luckily, I have people that they don't care how I react. They let me know, hey, yo, what's going on? Like, walk on with you. Like, how are you doing? And it's good to surround yourself with people who will call you on your shit. I'm just saying, we don't need yes people around us. We need people that are actually going to call us out when we are doing the things that we're not supposed to be doing, or we're not acting in a manner that it taps into our values. We need people to call us out when we're not being at our best self. I don't know. That's just me. I know it's hard to get it, but feedback is not failure. Feedback is necessary in every piece of your growth. I want you to remember that. Feedback is not failure. Feedback is necessary in every piece of your growth. So I want you to ask yourself, am I creating peace in my life or am I creating pressure in my life? Look, I get it. As entrepreneurs, we have to apply a little pressure. We have to apply the little pressure to us so that we can grow. Pressure, it helps us move forward. But I also want to ask you, how are you taking care of yourself in the midst of that pressure? How are you releasing some of the pressure sometimes so that you can be at your best self, but also take care of you? Now, if you remember at the beginning of this, I mentioned the hustle culture, and I can't stand the hustle culture. I get it, it may be necessary to a degree, but I often believe that the hustle culture is like the fastest flight. This is burnout, fastest flight into burnout. Um, and we need to understand when we're building our business, we don't need to rush the process. We don't. Don't look at somebody's highlight reel of 30 seconds and think, hey, yo, I need to build my business like this, and this. There's two things that you could do. You could spend unnecessary money and unnecessary energy, and that can leave you drained and that can leave you depleting of your funds. Nobody wants that. That increases your burnout as well. So slow down. Slowing down has helped me find the clarity, find the direction, and also find the originality. I think many of us, again, kind of going back to like the social media aspect of how long we will look at what everyone else is doing and we say, hey, yo, I mean, this is working for them. Maybe it'll work for me. If it's not authentically you, a good chance it not gonna work. Like it's just not gonna work. And the moment I realized I just gotta show up as me, and those who will, it's sense like those who will fuck with me will fuck with me. You know what I mean? And slowly I'm building my business even more, even more. I think there's a saying like my mom used to say, "Slow and steady wins the race" or something like that. And my pops always says like, you're better off taking your time the first time than making such a massive mistake from rushing it to the point where now you got to take a massive step back and start all over again. And I always keep those two in my head: slow and steady, take your time. Like just take your time, slow down. It helps you find the clarity, it helps you figure out where you want to go with your business, but it also helps you maintain yourself for first and foremost. And I'm also with slowing down, it opened doors that I never thought I would even want to open and walk through. And now the cool part of slowing down and opening up these doors and walking through is I'm opening up other doors for other people and showing them how ease is built a great way to build your business and having them walk through. It's like a bit a ripple effect of slowing down the process of building our business and getting to the motion of finding the clarity and aligning with where we need to be. Businesses don't always need to just be fast paced. If you think about, especially as entrepreneurs, if you think about I'm gonna use the guy from Starbucks, for example. He went to how many banks? And they all said, yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're not even going to give you any bit of funding for you to go and do this. Look where where Starbucks is now, right? And I'm sure he got a lot of no's for that one yes, but it took a bit of time for that yes to come in to embrace that whole bunch of no's. It was a slow process. So so what you can do is in terms of like dealing with burnout, we schedule meetings. We schedule all these things that we need to get done. Start scheduling when you have nothing to do. I call it AJ time. That's what I put in. I put it with like one of my favorite colors, which is purple, and I just say, "Yo, this is our time. This is for us. This is time for us to be restful." And you know what? Again, it's hard to shut your brain off as an entrepreneur. And typically when I'm in that restful moment, the creativity just floods to my head top. It drives me nuts. But that's when I grab my phone, I write it out, and then I put the phone away. Sometimes I even don't even have the phone in arm's reach of where I am. Sometimes it's charging far away from me so that I don't feel that I need to go and touch it and start doing things that I just need to rest in that moment. Now, if you've been messing with me, you know that I love to tell people to give themselves grace, but more importantly, give yourself permission to embrace grace. And grace has taught me a lot. I will say that I rather not be perfect in any way, shape, or form. I'm an imperfect form of life, and I love it. I don't think that we gain much from chasing perfection because no one in this lifetime is ever going to be perfect. Even the people that we look up to, they're not perfect. They are not perfect. They make countless mistakes. I was watching this video of Gary Vee just telling this woman at one of his conferences, speaking conference or whatever he was at, like, I make mistakes. No one you're looking up to is not making mistakes. We're all constantly making a mistake. And I love that because, I'm a fan of Gary Vee, and there's a lot of people that I'm a fan of, like different individuals. And him saying that made me realize, like, cool, I'm right on target because I make mistakes too, right? Like, stop chasing imperfection and give yourself grace. So, what if you made a mistake in this in your business? Doesn't mean you need to work harder to combat that. Allow yourself to just be, because the more that you're chasing, you're like, oh, I gotta get all this stuff. The more that even that made me feel tense. You feel tense. You feel uneasy. You feel like the word failure. Failing is amazing. I don't care what anyone says because failing means you're getting a lesson in life, period. Not even just as an entrepreneur, in life, period. But if you take on failure as like, I've made such a massive, horrible, gut wrenching, despicable mistake, then yeah, you're going to feel that sense of unease, and burnout can't creep in very easily. Remember, burnout's not going to come to you and say, yo, hi, I'm going to make you feel burnt out today. It just creeps in over time. So I do remember when things like something didn't go as planned. I'll give you an example. I had something, but kind of like to nail this in a little bit. I had something going on where I had this, I don't want to say deal, but I guess you could say that. It didn't work out. And it was a very teachable moment about how I could have went about it. I literally sat there mad, pissed. I called my partner and I said, yo, man, this didn't work out, blah, blah. She's like, yo, shift it. And just the simplest words, like just whoop, brought me back. Like, yo, give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Not everything is going to work out as planned, and that's okay. That's okay. Look at moments of, I mean, I know it's called failure, but I don't really call it failure. I call it lessons that you needed in the moment. But look at less like those failure moments as feedback and information. You ever go and you do a full physical? I hope you do, and you get blood work done. Then they come, they sit you down and say, okay, like, you need to do this or maybe blah, blah, blah. I remember a time when this year I had to go do blood work and found out I was iron deficient, right? And I was like, oh, that's odd. Like, but cool. Doc says, yo, we need you to start taking more iron. I said, okay. Anything else I need to know? Yeah, start taking my vitamin C. Again, I'm no doctor. If please, I'm no doctor. Go talk to your doctor about any of that stuff. But it was like my blood work was a map to my body. It was not I didn't fail anything because my iron was low. It was giving me what I needed. It was giving me the information I needed. So see that when you're in those moments of quote unquote failure, reframe it into, this is the moment that I need to get information. This is not the ending. This is the feedback that I need to receive. That's how you can work through it and not allow it to slip to a moment of burnout. And I want you to also understand when I say give yourself grace, and it's interesting, I'm saying this on a Sunday, and I think that's kind of where I learned it from being a church kid myself, is grace looks like trying again without having any guilt. Grace looks like allowing yourself to experience all that is for you, all that God, universe, your ancestors has set up for you. Grace looks like you giving yourself multiple chances in life without guilt. We put such a heavy emphasis on if you get an F in your class or something, or if your boss tells you that that's not the way you should be doing things, or that type of feedback, or if your deal falls through as entrepreneurs, we think like that's failure. But grace is what triumphs all of that, because grace equals to no guilt at all. And when you give yourself permission to embrace grace, you will see and feel a sense of ease versus sitting back and constantly feeling as if you are burnt out. Because again, without that piece of grace, and I think that's so important, and it's what I've learned with my entrepreneurship journey so far. Without that piece of grace, I probably would have been feeling less than. But this entrepreneur journey is no joke. Like there's I hate to tell you, growth in general is no joke, and that's not even discussed enough of the risks you take as being an entrepreneur. It's growth in itself, and it's not discussed enough of how much you lose to gain. You lose a lot to gain the life you want and to align with it, right? So take a step back and give yourself permission to embrace grace and understand that you want to build a business with grace and not grind, because the grind eventually comes to a halt. But that grace is flow freeing for real. Next thing you want to take in account, and I've learned this with my entrepreneur journey, is how many times you should be pausing. Pause as many times as you need. Lord have mercy. If situations in your family is going on, you personally, your health, there's nothing wrong with pausing. When I was unfortunately assaulted at work, I was off for a while. The first few months, if not a year, I did not really care too much about my business. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was more focused on like, how do I heal through this? How do I work through this? How do I get better? Being diagnosed with PTSD, depression, and anxiety. My forefront was, how do I get better? Because this is like, I dealt with seasonal depression, but PTSD, Lord have mercy, it's something else. And if you experienced um, something traumatic and you have PTSD, or even just at your job alone, it doesn't go away. You just learn how to manage it. So my thought process of my business, I wasn't thinking about it. I ain't gonna lie to it. And you're not falling. I didn't fall behind in the time that I was off and not worrying about my business too tough. I remember I was making content and stuff, but I wasn't all in. I ain't gonna deny that. I was not all in. I was just trying my best to just keep it going. Understand that it's okay to even take a pause as many times you need it and rest when it is necessary. And a couple ways that I take care of myself, and I guess this is coupled with me now being diagnosed with PTSD, is my mornings are stillness. I like to get up, have a moment with God, you know, I always have a routine, coffee, journaling. I have a word of the day that I listen to or read. I try my best. As an entrepreneur, it's hard. I try my best not to be on my phone so early in the morning, emails and stuff that I'm trying to look back at. And I I also have a day for myself. Typically, I'll just take one whole day where I just, or even half a day. I write in my book, yo, rest. And it's always as much as I can. Rest. Don't forget, take a moment, even if it's just an hour, 2 hours. We need to make sure that like regenerate ourselves in that moment. So I just wanted to touch base on that as well. Pause as many times as you needed. as you need. Don't even, who cares? You don't have to explain that into nobody because rest is not weakness, it's a necessary act. I want you to think about rest as a prescription before you get an actual prescription. My pop said the other day, like, you could be mean to your body and kindness to doctors, which basically implies yeah, it basically implies that if you're mean to your own body, you are definitely being kind to a doctor's bank account. But if you are kind to your body and you take care of yourself, and something as simple as rest and restoration, it's a strategy for you to make sure that you prioritize you. Now, again, I want to emphasize that the reason why rest is so important is it and take sorry that pausing is so important because it allows you to take a step back and not rush the process. I mentioned it a few minutes ago. Many times we will say, "Yeah, we got to make it. We got to blah, blah." Yo, this is a journey. Entrepreneurship is not a fly by night thing. It is a journey. Why ride the wave? Don't think that you just need to constantly have something go so fast. That's not gonna happen. It's not gonna work. Sometimes I again going back to content creation, sometimes a person's just one video away from going from like zero to like you wouldn't even believe. But how they did that was being consistent. It's the same thing that goes for entrepreneurs. You got to be consistent with it, but you also got to ride the wave and not rush the entire process and trust him, have faith. So me, I trust in God that all good things through him will come through me, and I will help everyone else, one person a day, to live and love their dope life. That's just how I do it, right? Have a foundation also in your life as well, and how you can get into moments of not rushing the process. There's a planting season where you are planting the seeds. There's a moment of building, right? Where you have to wait till this grows. Then there's a moment of harvesting where you can pick the crop. That's 3 years I'm counting right there. They say it takes five, but I just counted 3 years. Building, right? Planting, building, harvesting. So you think that's going to happen like this? It takes time, connections you need to make. So don't rush the process, ride the wave. All right. Don't think that it needs to happen very quickly. Allow it to just flow. And you watch how the ease and things come to your business and the alignment aligns to you. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I found out one of my mentors was at an event. It was kind of interesting. So, one of my mentors is at an event, and I'm hosting an event with them next month. And then I also saw that the person I'm hosting an event with, that they're going to meet with my another mentor at an event of theirs that I'm going to. I know it's weird. So, but it was just like a full circle moment. Nothing happens by mere hapstance. Nothing. Nothing happens by mere hapstance. Everything that we do is alignment. And it took waves for me to get there. Me centering myself, me giving myself grace, me pausing as many times as I need to show up as my best self. So understand the timing isn't, how should I put it? The timing isn't horrible if it's taking you a little bit of length of time. Trust in the timing. I don't know about you. I always use food because I guess I'm a foodie and I'm a Mator, so we like food. Um, everything I know that tastes good, it needs to marinate. It needs to sit in it for a little bit longer, just so that all like the seasonings and everything could get to it. And when you make it and you slow cook it, ah, chef's kiss. Same thing goes for your business. There's moments you're going to be in the marinating system where you're just allowing everything to marinate. You're building. This is okay. Don't think that you're failing because it's not happening quickly. Understand you need to trust the timing, ride the wave, and don't resist it. Enjoy the journey while you're here. Enjoy the journey while you're here. Whatever season you're in right now, whether it's the planting, the building, and the harvesting, or the resting, this is the season you're in. Enjoy it and riding the wave of it. Don't rush the damn process. And let's talk about the tough part that a lot of us may have a hard time dealing with as entrepreneurs, delegating. Ooh, like this is my baby. And you mean I got to delegate this to somebody? Absolutely not. Like a lot of us have a tough time doing that. But understand that in Delegating, it's allowing you to have like space for peace. It's allowing you to have space for rest by you delegating. If you're in the position of delegating, then by all means do it. And how you learn to sh- what you learn in the midst of delegating, because it frees up your time, it frees up your energy, allows creativity to flow to you much easier. So if you're in the position of you can hire support, do it. Start doing automation. Whew, and start setting boundaries. If you're a small business and you can't afford anything, your gem, I guarantee you, is automation. I love me a good, I'm gonna set up an email and have it being sent on Monday. I will do it on a Saturday or Sunday. I know they're not in the office at that point, but I'll set up a time and they will get it Monday morning or Monday afternoon or whatever. Use it. It's there. Don't be afraid, because you're not losing control from your business. You are gaining peace. So look at delegation as a way and a direction towards your peace. And remember, this is not a marathon that you're on right now. This is not a race. Man, I don't know why we think sometimes that being an entrepreneur, we got to get everything so fast. I already said planting, building, harvesting. That's 3 years right there. So this is definitely not a race. And if you're in it for a race, I'm not to tell you, it not gonna work, Allow it, allow it to take its time. There's nothing wrong with it. And if you start looking at your business and your entrepreneur journey as not being a race, you will see that you have a farther more chance of longevity. You have a farther more chance of doing more. Okay. There's more power in pacing yourself than overhauling your whole life with a bunch of things that you know for a fact is going to drain you and bring you to burnout. So understand what journey you're on right now is not a marathon. I is sorry, it's a marathon. It ain't a sprint. It ain't a race. I used to run 100 meters in elementary school and high school, I think, but elementary school for sure. It's not a 100 meter. Just many of you want to have business like Hussein Bolt. Like, no. Sometimes some of y'all need to take in the 400 meter. I 100 meters for like for 400 meters, divide that by 400 meters, 4 years. Just take 100 meters per year. Take your time. You, because at the end of the day, we can't pour from an empty cup. Like, who has time to or anything to run from a dry cup? You can't. So this is why when it comes towards burnout, you gotta take care of yourself and understand that what you're building, your business that you're building, it's not a race, it's a marathon. Because burnout taught me that rest isn't a mess. Burnout taught me that it's not a sense of badge of honor to be burnt out for your success. I realized that being having a sense of restoration and taking care of yourself more is the goal. It's a requirement. It's a way to equip yourself for success in your business. And if you're gonna sit back and allow yourself to be on bare bones and dryness, it's not gonna get you far. We're trying to build a business for longevity. We're not building business just to like a one quick fix thing type of thing. We're trying to have it for longevity. But in order to do that, we need you to be here for that longevity. So prioritize yourself. Burnout ain't for the birds. It can happen, but prioritize yourself in your season of planting, building, harvesting. All right. So, kind of taking a step back, let's wrap up for a bit. The key lessons that I talked about was slowing down, giving yourself grace, pausing as many times as you need, riding the wave, right? Delegating, and lastly, it's not a marathon, it is a race. I hope that this resonated with you moving forward in your entrepreneurial journey. I hope you're able to gain some gems so that you could apply it for yourself moving forward. Because again, we are not trying to build a business from absolutely no energy, no creativity. We need all these things. We're trying to build a business from a sense of um, rest and a sense of ease and a sense of flow. All right. I I will see you all next week. Okay. at the Dope Life Podcast. New episode drops on Tuesday. And I'll also see you next week for another Successful Sunday episode. I hope, again, you're able to get some really good gems out of today's episode. All right. Share this with somebody else that you know could gain some insight, or even if you've noticed that they're having some symptoms of burnout. Let's start the discussion amongst us entrepreneurs because we need to take care of ourselves, especially in the wellness community. I'm just saying, we give a lot. We need to also give ourselves back. And what helps is with community and having these conversations. All right. All right. I'll see y'all next week. Ooh, I need after 40 minutes almost. I need some water. I'll see y'all next week. And you know what to do. Walk with peace, walk with